Hello, everybody, and
Hello.
welcome back to Ears to the East. But this is a very different Ears to the East because today I'm sitting next to someone.
Oh, do you not normally?
No, we usually do this online. You can tell he's a big fan of the channel. Hi, James.
Hello.
Yeah, a little bit different today because there's been a lot of scheduled things you guys know going on between me, Neon, and Benedict. And as my friend James is visiting me, I thought I'd get him involved in the channel because he is a person with a lot of interesting things to say. Now, I know if you've been following my channel, you might already have seen this beautiful face before, but so he's got the politician smile down. But yeah, so James is the runner of a, well, I don't know what to call it, like a speciality store. Like, I mean, I know it's like Newsstand Comics is the name, but it's not just comics. You kind of do like
No.
everything.
No, it's not just a comic book shop. It's like collectibles and things, trading cards, manga, things.
Is that how you register it with like Company's House? It's like, I'm starting a business. Oh, what's the business? I'm going to sell things. Um,
Gift shop?
Well, and that is one of the other reasons why he's here in Japan, as you can see. Like, first person who's been in Japan with me for one of these videos. So that's very cool. Because you, of course, know your Japanese stuff.
I do. I quite like Japanese stuff.
Things and
That's
stuff.
why I spend the money to get here. Yeah.
Nothing to do with friendship. Nothing at all. So
Helps.
it helps. I'm glad. I'm glad that I greased the wheels of a
That's
good
right.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's no, it's
Give me very greasy wheels. Yeah.
I'm just wondering what the metaphor that is. I'm leaving it alone. So anyway, yeah, just thought there's a little bit of an introduction, and I thought we would just have a bit of a chat because, well, obviously you know your anime. Moreover, you know you've done some stuff with anime theme tunes, but moreover, one of the main things you're here for is you're getting a lot of stuff, partly for your shop, partly for yourself. But you've been buying a lot of stuff in Japan. I mean, it's
I
off
have
camera, but
been
he's
buying-
filled my apartment.
Doesn't look as much as usual, to be fair, because normally I buy things and it takes up a lot of space. But
How many figurines are there off screen right now?
2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, and a few Gundam kits. Yeah, 5 Gundam kits, 9. There's a few more in that box over there, maybe 10
Boxes.
or something.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's traveling light. So yeah. Anyway, as a result, James will be drinking some interesting drinks with us today and catching up. By the way, in case you didn't know, we started off by having a chat on the live chat on Back of Broadcast. So we're just kind of like picking up from there and just chatting about stuff really today.
yeah. Maybe this Craft Boss matcha latte. Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, craft box matcha. I nearly said that.
Nearly said box. So, Craft Boss, the boss of them all since 1992.
And no earlier.
There is. I was just trying to work out which camera we just approaching. Yeah, so there you go. Very much going on there. Yeah, Craft Boss since 1992. They have had so much stuff coming out this year. Their product development team must be worked down to the bone because they have been bringing out so many. So my main hobby, really, I guess, is Japanese food and drink, and I don't mean the fancy Michelin star kind of thing because not many people actually get the opportunity to try that. I like the pedestrian things. I like the main day-to-day things. I like the accessible things. I like the normal,
The pop music of food.
the normal kind of stuff. But I like the limited edition ones, the ones that I do have a couple of staples that I really like. I do like the regular Boss Cafe Latte in a can.
Yep.
And I do like the teriyaki McBurger from McDonald's.
Okay.
And I do like the, I think there's the teriyaki twister at KFC. And there's a couple of other like basic things that I like. But I do like trying the limited edition stuff. That
You come
reminds
here
me,
for the limited editions.
something we do need to try tomorrow is the, well, even if you don't want to try it, I want to try it.
All right, let me know.
The Starbucks Halloween Boo Black Frappuccino. So I want to try that.
What is in the
It's
Halloween?
pumpkin, but it's also got charcoal ink to make it black. But I think they're introducing it with a black caramel sauce on the 25th. So you might just about miss that, but you can still get the black frappuccino. So that's the special at the moment at Starbucks.
And how many times my daily sugar consumption will be in this drink? 20, 30.
Something. You have a low daily sugar content anyway, to be fair. You don't really consume that much. But as for this, yes. Normal company, Craft Boss. It's not one of those like artisan companies, but this is a limited edition item of theirs. Matcha latte. So
just quick background. Boss is a brand of Suntory, who are one of the more cheaper normal drink brands. But the interesting thing is you might know Boss because they have their TV adverts. If you type in Boss Coffee and Tommy Lee Jones, he was quite famous for doing bizarre adverts where he basically plays the boss, but he's also an alien who can shoot lasers at his eyes, and he does.
He is. He's like an alien who has ended up in Japan, and he's trying to understand the human condition, like human life. What's life like on this planet? And of course, he's landed in Japan, so of course, life isn't the same in this country as it is in every
He's getting a false good impression.
But
at the moment, Atarashi Gakko are doing an advert for one of the most recent brands of Boss, or one of the recent Boss drink releases, I guess.
Right.
Where they are just being very Atarashi Gakko. So if you're an Atarashi Gakko fan, type in Atarashi Gakko Boss to see that.
What is I don't know. What? How do you know it's them? What's indicative? That's the word I was thinking of. What's indicative of Atarashi Gakko then?
That was the band who I played you yesterday, where I said the song felt like it was going nowhere for 3 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. But yeah, it's there was I can't even remember what it's called. The most recent one where it's like Tokyo Calling. That's right, and it was just like Tokyo.
Oh, that was horrible.
Are you talking
Not
about
this,
the drink?
no, that song.
Yeah, I'm glad because I've been getting a lot of flack from people because I want to like Atarashi Gakko, and there are some of their songs I like, but I keep on saying the problem is a lot of their songs feel really underdeveloped and they don't feel like they're going anywhere. And Tokyo Calling to me was just boring, repetitive, and it had like really bad lyrics as well, which you agree with.
So it's nice. It's a bit thin.
Thank you.
But
no.
But the serving size is so big. It's 500 ml, which is quite large. And I don't have the luxury of saving some of it for later. And sometimes you get these in vending machines. This is very large. I prefer the smaller portions because then I get to try more. I don't just go around sloshing around.
Do you think that the special drinks should be in smaller portions anyway because they're more for people who want to just give them a taste test?
I guess so.
The more special it is, the smaller.
Or they make more money if they sell the large one and people can't help but buy it to try it. Evil.
Interesting word.
Evil. Although they do have this other canned coffee that I picked up yesterday, which is very small.
All right, let's check this out.
There goes the theory. Okay. So this one is a promotion with Spy Family, the anime. There you go. There's your Spy Family logo on the back. Now, how much do you know about Spy Family, all you people out there? Do you know what food this character is enamoured with? Peanuts. That's right, peanuts. So this is a sort of peanut butter flavoured a latte, a cafe au lait, a milk coffee. I was quite excited when I saw it because they don't really do flavours that bold. That is quite a bold flavour for a coffee, and it's really good. And
you tried it on the stream last night, didn't you?
Yeah, I tried it on the stream last night, and it's very good. This sort of peanut buttery coffee latte, so good. I don't know. I have to see how much weight I've got. I don't know if I can try and pop over there and get a couple more cans tomorrow.
Where'd you get it from?
The Akafudo in Nezu. So it's not the hardest place to get to, but it is I think it's on the Chiyoda line, so it's underground.
You get a Nezu Chiyoda line and
so I might have to go there and grab a few more of these if possible. I didn't buy 4 cans because I knew I was going to like it, so I bought 4 cans. But I kind of want to share them with people because they're about 60 yen each. They're so cheap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do want to get more of those, and that's the sort of thing I like. I really get excited finding these flavours to try. Yeah, I've got a lot of soft drinks, but there's also a lot of coffee. This one year, when we were staying at the Cardboard Palace, you had to leave a day before me, so I was stuck
That's
there.
right.
I was stuck there on my own for a night, and I weighed all my luggage, and it turned out I had way too much luggage, and I was running out of time. So just before I went to the airport, I stood outside the building and filmed myself drinking about 8 or 9 different coffees,
Nice.
right? And not long after that, I felt awful. I just had to get rid of them. I had to get rid of them, and I don't like wasting them. So I thought, oh, I'll try a bit. I think I tried a bit of each. I didn't think I could possibly drink that much, but I did drink way too much, and I felt awful. Oh my god!
Just proving that these drinks all have a little bit of that poison in them.
I think it's that much coffee, that much caffeine.
Probably true, yeah.
You know, it really like did a number on me. But yeah, it's. I've had fun though. I've been to all the regular places this year. I've been to Burger King, and Burger King are doing the mushroom Whopper, which actually was very good. It's got some mushroom sauce in it. But they're also doing this thing, which is I heard about it back in April, and it was the Big Bet, and it was kind of their challenge to the Big Mac, and it had the same sort of sauce and toppings as a Big Mac, except it didn't have the middle piece of bread, but it was a Burger King style one, and I missed my opportunity to get it. I saw it in Kyoto, and I didn't see it anywhere else, so I was really disappointed that I missed it, and they got it back on the menu at the moment, so I got myself the... See, Burger King, they do the Whopper Junior, they do the small one, which is great, because I didn't have to fill myself up, but I got the same quality product as the regular Whopper for the mushroom one. But the Big Bet only comes in this massive, huge thing. Oh,
Problem is, when we talk about burger size, it's a lot like when they go into a bar and they talk about, oh, here's a large beer, a medium beer, a small beer. It's by whose standard? So when you say like a junior Whopper, how would that compare to like a quarter pounder?
a Junior Whopper is kind of like my fist size,
Okay.
to be honest. So if you just took my whole like fist like that,
That's a junior Whopper. Okay.
that's a Junior Whopper.
Okay.
Whereas the regular ones are like if you put both my hands together like that, and that's kind of like
I'm
your
imagining a burger.
burger size.
Hello, I'm a burger.
So yeah, you know, regular Whopper, double Whopper, and then you got your Whopper Junior, which is like that sort of size. Yeah,
Fisting
they
burger.
are. Yeah, it is noticeably smaller, and I'm there to taste it. I'm not there to fill myself up. So
So the recommendations are never based on nutritious value, just quality of interesting taste.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's
God, I
why
like
I
that.
kind of I appreciate those little tasting menus. You know, like, oh, this ryokan has a breakfast of 40 different like courses. You're like, yeah, but each course is like thimble sized, you know, and I appreciate that because you can just taste a load of stuff in one go.
Yeah.
Because your time is fleeting. So I've been to McDonald's as well. They've got their moon viewing burgers. And they have the same every year, but then they bring out a different one. So it's got like this milk bread bun, which is quite nice, I think, or a mochi milk bread bun. But this year they've added like,
Mochi the bun.
but they've put like ground beef, like sukiyaki ground beef in it, and it's really nice. So I've had that this year. Yeah, and I've been to KFC, but their current special is just a spiced garlic crispy chicken. Woo. Yeah. I haven't been to Lotteria yet.
Oh yeah. So when I was in Korea a few days ago, and I told James about this.
You were in Korea a few days ago?
Oh my god! Yeah, but act like you don't know. Yeah. So the
YouTube face.
when I was in Korea a couple of days ago, I was in the airport and I started chatting to this lady who was there as well, and she's still there. I'm still messaging to make sure she's okay, but she will get out of the airport soon.
Stop flexing your game.
In all fairness, if I had game, she wouldn't still be there.
What would you... What?
Well, I'm assuming.
Incriminate yourself.
What? What? What?
Is this like Saw type games or something? What is this?
Wait, I'm wondering what you're thinking of there. But
She wouldn't be there. She'd be locked in the basement,
oh jeez, no,
trying to stop a bear trap from
helping
opening on her face.
helping someone out of a difficult situation doesn't mean locking them into anything or like kidnapping
So if
them.
I had game, she wouldn't still be there. I'd be like, what? What?
I was saying that she's currently stuck in the airport waiting to get the money through for a flight. So yeah.
Oh, good lord.
But but yeah. So anyway, we were chatting and we ended up getting a Lotteria meal just because we were both stuck in the airport for ages. And we got a Lotteria meal, and it came. We were just like randomly selecting stuff on the menu, just like whatever, because we didn't know what we wanted. And the random topping that came for the chips was just like it was like cheese. It was like a cheese thing. You pour it into the chips, you shake them up, and then like cheese seasoning. But opened it, and immediately it smelled like bubble gum. So we just tried a little bit. I was like, yes, this tastes more like bubblegum than cheese. And we checked the packet, it said cheese, but it tastes like bubblegum. So if James does get to eat Lotteria, and if he does try the cheese, the bubblegum cheese, and if it's the same in Japan as it is in Korea, I'll get a video of that and I'll snap that at the end of this video.
Let's have a look at that.
If that
Yeah,
happens.
so hopefully tomorrow, I'll get to go to Lotteria because I didn't go to Freshness Burger or Moss Burger either, but they've not really got anything that's that exciting. So
Except for brilliant flavours brought together by wonderful meat.
the thing is with Freshness Burger, their teriyaki cheeseburger has got this really weird soft cream cheese in it, like Dairy Lee or something, or Laughing Cow, and it's really weird. You know, remember we had that like a few years ago, and we went out to Freshness Burger late in the evening. And I got their teriyaki cheeseburger, and it was just so weird. It's gloopy cream cheese inside, and that's how they still make it now. Oh,
I'm trying, I don't think I had the same one as you then because I don't remember that.
maybe
But
not.
Moss Burger is definitely, but Moss Burger is the best of all the burger fast food chains.
Huh.
Moss
I just
Burger.
tend to find that Japanese,
Fucking
like
yes.
Asian, like burger chains use a squidgier meat.
Tastes more like meat.
Like for me, it doesn't. It's a bit like they've pasted it rather than ground it, and then they've sort of shaped it rather than actually having like ground meat into a burger shape. But so Lotteria, that's the one I'm kind of
Lotteria
wanting
pretty good.
tomorrow.
Lotteria pretty good,
Yeah, because Starbucks and Lotteria, because that's kind of making my whole
I think if you do
group complete.
if you do the Starbucks one, I might just like sort of grab a little bit on the end of a straw and just try it just to see if I get diabetes from it. But other than that, I might leave that one to you, and I might just like grab a glass of water while you do that.
Well, because our trips to Starbucks haven't always gone so well.
Remind me.
I do like showing people the video because it was painful at the time, but it made for a good video. This is back when I had loads of time to edit, and I really had fun editing this one. And it's when we tried the different apple frappuccinos in the branch of Starbucks in Menlo Park. And you could hear people like yammering away in the background, and I added the sound effects of them like talking and making weird noises. And Howard got brain freeze from one of the drinks, so I animated him going sort of blue with this eminence because he was sitting there like waiting for this brain freeze to pass, and then suddenly he's like this. He's like, and it goes away, and I just edited so much into it.
That's perfect.
Like this brain freeze sort of fading away, and he was just sitting there going, "Oh, I don't feel very well." Oh, and I was just like making it black and white, and like zooming in on his poor face, going into despair and pain. It was.
I forgot that every
it was
time
a
I go to
bad
Starbucks, I
experience.
get like
It was a
fucking
bad
brain
experience.
freeze.
But
Yeah.
the video, I loved how it came out because it was so much fun.
Brain freeze is always fun.
All this crap going on, and we'd set up 2 cameras, so I had a multi-camera thing to do as well, even though they were poor quality cameras. And I'd love to go back and be able to do more stuff like that and have more time.
Well, we might even go to it. We might even end up going to, because you haven't been to Ueno Park on this trip. We might go to Ueno Park tomorrow.
That'd be nice. They're a bit more controlled on what you can do in the rowboats now, though. They don't allow you to. They said, "Oh, you can't eat and drink in the rowboats, or you can't film in the rowboats."
I seem to remember that the last 2 times they had that rule, and then we just kind of managed to sneak in like the food.
Yeah, I think you can have a drink. The thing is, it's easier to do all that stuff in the swan boats because no one's going to notice whether you're eating or drinking or giving a gobby.
Just noshing someone off in the swan boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, it's supposed to be a romantic place, is it not?
Exactly, it is. Yeah, exactly. It is a romantic place.
I'm so touched by this beautiful romantic gesture. Nosh, nosh, nosh. Yeah.
That's why the swan boats cost more, you see. But yeah, you know, if the weather's nice tomorrow, maybe.
Well,
Yeah, because it's not that expensive.
It's the only boat where they give you head. It's a hint. Yeah.
What, the swan head. Yeah.
But remember, swans mate forever.
Oh dear. So they must get knackered. Tomorrow, I'd like to do that. I would recommend it
Really?
because the price has gone up a bit over the years, but then again, the exchange rate is still very good. I was
What are you talking about
so anxious about the exchange rate only being high for a little bit. You know, it rose, I think, a couple of months ago, and it stayed high. So I'm really happy about the exchange rate at the moment.
You're happy about it, whereas I'm feeling kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
It's been really bad for me, really good for you.
But yeah, if you're thinking about coming to Japan and you don't, thing is, I'm not good with like water myself, but I do still enjoy the rowboats. It's really good value. I think it's like 600 yen for an hour.
Does the water bother you with that? Because I mean, I know
Well,
you know
I'd drown. You see, that's the problem.
you can't swim,
I cannot swim. No,
but you can float. 'Cause
No, I can't do that
You're
either.
human. You have air in you.
I don't trust myself to. I can't let go. I think I almost drowned at Centre Parks back in February last year because I fell backwards and I couldn't find my footing. And I just couldn't find my footing, so I was just, oh man, it was just horrible. Because once I'm underwater, I panic, and then I breathe in, but I'm underwater, so I just instantly drown myself.
You breathe in when you're underwater.
Well, that's just my instinct.
But then you should come up.
My body is just like,
I'll be breathing in water.
but I've lost my footing. I've fallen backwards, so I'm desperately trying to get back up. And because kids tried to drown me at swimming lessons when I was like very, very young and starting swimming lessons.
Drama.
So that just
Drama kid.
it's just I can't trust myself to. I don't mind being in the bath and like holding my breath and then like opening my eyes and going, oh, this is interesting. Oh. But then I can just sit back up. I'm like, that was all right. But no, I can't swim. I can't float. I can't do nothing like that. So yeah, because I was at Centre Parks and they've got this sort of like slip and slide thing, but it's really, really long. It goes on for ages, but it's got a couple of like bumps in it, and that's fine. But at one point, it's got a bump, but then it immediately goes really deep, which is just about my standing height. So I didn't know it was coming either. With most people, it's fine because this is my chance to swim, and I'm just like, shit, I'm drowning. But I was ready for it the next time. So I knew when to kind of stop, because you can just kind of lift your feet up and slide, but you can put your feet down and stop. So as soon as that bump comes, I'm like, oh, right, I've got to, steady myself. It's just traumatic.
I think
So I don't mind rowing boats. I don't mind sitting in a rubber ring on the water or something, but it's nice. The rowboats
I
are
remember
nice.
when I grew up, I used to hate if my head ever went underwater. I just used to hate that. And then I think the thing that kind of helped me, because I'm not a big fan of being underwater, but the thing that helped me a lot was when I was in the swimming pool. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was like a relative or something. But they just sort of like told me, it's like, okay, just lie on top of the water, and it's like, so just as you breathe in and out, watch as your body goes up and down, and realize that you'll never drown just so long as you're basically on your back and you've got air in your system and you don't start flailing around. You can basically float. And then once it got into my head that you can basically float if you just stop and let yourself float, then that actually helped a lot with the fear of water. But then my fear now with the sea is not knowing what's underneath me.
Cannot break that barrier. My body does create. It's like when we had to do the COVID tongue, get the sample. I can't even brush my very, very, very back teeth without gagging.
Really?
So doing like that sample from the roof of your mouth was just it's horrible. I was just like,
Really? Oh my god.
I just can't. Yeah.
It's got furbles.
When I get like the very, very back of my teeth, I have to do them really quickly. Like if I have to brush the buttons at the very back, I was like, even now, even talking about it, the back of my esophagus is just like just pinching. Yeah, I'd love to learn to get over it. So I've such respect for porn stars. I can't believe they can. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know because I've got all my wisdom. I think I've got most of my wisdom teeth, so I've got quite a lot to brush back here, and just reaching is just. I try to tell myself different. I try to tell myself, look, it's fine. You're just brushing your teeth, But my my little
really
little
shit.
esophagus is just like, no, don't like it.
On a slight tangent from that, because I was like,
Oh yeah, can we go about Japanese
no,
stuff?
I was going to say, because
Hey, look at this green tea.
we were talking on the stream the other day about like heights because of the Osaka Garden building. You know, the one where like it's basically two tall towers going up and then a garden across the top.
Yeah.
Now, if you go up to that, basically the way you get to the garden bit at the top is imagine, like I say, that shape. And you get in an elevator that starts at the ground at the bottom of the legs and it goes up the inside leg of the building.
Yeah.
And it takes you right up to just underneath the garden. And then you get a little, like an escalator, travelator thing that basically goes up diagonally, up through over to the top. Now, the thing is, basically, I am really bad with heights. But for
Okay.
me, my thing is that I like to go to very tall places to basically make me want to shit myself because it's kind of like the challenge. It's like, so like I went up to the glass floor in Skytree and I watched a bunch of kids danced on top of it and then I walked over to it like, ha ha ha, ha I win.
It's
But
it's a very small glass like floor,
it's big enough to
Right.
jump around on.
and it's not that see-through either. I mean, I can't remember.
Pretty
Is it
transparent.
see-through? So
Pretty transparent.
I always think I'm going to be fine with those. And there's this one at what's
Wait
it
a minute,
called?
let me finish the first story before we start a new one.
All right, finish your story.
So yeah, so the what I was saying is that when you went up there, so I was thinking like with most of those towers where they've got like a viewing thing at the top, you get like the initial like elevator takes you up to like maybe like the third or fourth floor, like the bottom level of the tower, which is where you buy the tickets and you go up to the top, right? But this thing, because I get in the elevator, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just take us up to like the third floor or something. And even I think in there it actually says, oh, takes you to second floor. That you mean the second floor of the experience rather than of the building. And so you press it, and then suddenly it's go up, and you're like, oh fuck, fuck my, oh shit, and you're just seeing everything disappearing. And then whatever the fuck you call it, the magic thing takes you takes you to right under the top thing. Now, I don't know about you, but a lot of people seem to agree from this, is that the worst thing when you have vertigo is not looking down, it's looking up. And for me, the worst thing is if the top is visually close to your head. Like, so for example, if I climb up a ladder, I'm fine. But if I climb up a ladder and I see the ceiling getting close to me, that's when I start to feel really
All right.
queasy.
I'm all right with that because I know I can hold on to the ceiling a bit, you know.
That might be a point, but something about it, some psychological
Yeah,
thing
you
about
just
being
you
near
can't
to the
explain
top.
it, can you? No,
Exactly.
No.
So for this was like the most extreme version of this. It's like that, but in a building that is massive, and you're
Yeah.
basically here is this gigantic ceiling against your head, and there is everything below you. And I was with my friends who I was just going to take them there, and they were going up in the garden, and I was like, I am going to stand here. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to breathe in or out until someone presses the button. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. And they went and think, and just me and the elevator going down, like, oh, pain. But I'm glad I did it because it
Yeah.
shattered me up.
I always think that I'm gonna be worse with these high up places than I am. Although I suppose it depends. Like we did a few of the observation decks in New York in February,
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
and I've been to the Rockefeller Center before. I've been to the Empire State Building before, but this new one, the Edge,
That sounds horrifying.
it's at Hudson Gardens, and it's like the world's tallest outdoor viewing platform. So it's this kind of triangle shaped sort of wedge coming out the top of one of these buildings,
Okay.
and you look at it online or whatever, and it looks horrifying. But then when you're there, it's just like, oh, okay, you're kind of
The
on this-
Edge, right?
yeah.
Like the guy from.
I guess, yeah.
too.
And yeah, you just kind of.
I'm going to Google it.
Because on most of these, you are outside, but some of them have inside points. But this is like completely sort of open. You don't. Yeah, it's kind of gimmicky looking because, to be honest, even if you're on a observation deck of a regular building, you can see that you're outside. This does seem a lot more outside than the other ones, to be fair. But this has got a little glass floor. And I thought I'd be all right with the glass floor, but I really wasn't. We were like, I can't go much further than this. I'm just sort of like tiptoeing close to it, but there's just something my body doesn't like about standing near this, like...
Yeah, that does look pretty horrifying. I'll give you that.
There it is.
Yeah. That's,
Actually, let's look at that photo. See, the picture of the Manhattan makes it look even longer than it is, but yeah, it is this thing on the edge.
Yeah, they've got some people standing on it there, haven't they?
Yeah, and there's this second sort of balcony level where that person's taking the photo from. That's why you can sort of look down on people.
Oh, okay.
It's because you've got this upper like balcony area, and you've got some of these other photos. People get right to the edge there, and that's not as bad as it looks.
Right
either.
to the edge. I see what they did there. I see what they did there.
But yeah, there's another new one. I think it's just called The Experience at the Vanderbilt Center, but that's mostly like lots of mirrors and shit. But yeah, that one wasn't as bad, but I didn't like the glass floor at that one. But I didn't mind like putting my camera phone on it and taking a couple of pictures. But that's so reinforced that it's not completely see-through. It's got like mesh across it.
In the same way that you can sit by an airplane window completely chilled out, having falling asleep while outside is like minus whatever degrees temperature. Yeah. Different pressure, huge jet engines, and you just chill out sleeping against the window because you just trust that little bit of perspex is actually a lot of reinforced. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how you how like the fear aspect applies, but there aren't really too many places like that in Japan as a general. Like most places in Japan are pretty.
There's a few roller coasters.
See, I like roller coasters so long as I like them to be high, fast, all that stuff. Tallest roller coasters I'm fine with, but I want to see where I'm going. I don't like the ones that go backwards or where they spin you around so you get disoriented. I want to see where I'm going. Then you can launch me as fast and as high as you want. Just let me see where I'm going.
Stealth at...
Is that the one where you basically hang and...
No, stealth is the one that just goes up and around and down. But it's really tall.
Went to the one at Fuji Q. Is that one?
Really? And this one's at... Alton Towers is the one north in England. What's the one that's real close to Dartford?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Is that not Chessington?
It might be Chessington.
Thorpe Park.
Thorpe
Park. Yeah, Alton Towers is the one up north. Thorpe Park's the one down south. So that's at Thorpe Park. And...
I went to the one at Fuji Q, which I think it was supposed to be the biggest at the time, but it might not be. And that one, I loved that.
The thing is, they've got good ones. They've got really good ones. They've got Colossus, which is the one that's got the corkscrew. And I love riding these things, but the one that I've been on it 3 times and I'm still scared of it, which is Thunder Dolphin.
Well, that's the one at
that's the one at L'Aqua. That's the one at the Tokyo Dome.
I like
because
that
it
one.
just goes up really high. What? You don't like heights? How can you stand this thing?
Because
it's really thin. The track is thin, and you've got nothing on either side. And the first time I went on it was late at night, and this is back when you could still wear your glasses on it because. I don't know why they still let you wear your glasses. I'm sure I did, because I wasn't wearing contacts back then. So I went on it at night, and that was bad enough. That was kind of like scary enough because you're in the middle of the city, and it should be fascinating. It should be cool, but you are exposed. You've got nothing on either side of you, and that is. It just puts your vertigo feelings into overdrive on both sides because there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And then you go over, and that's fine. That's fun because it's fast, and the high part's over, and then that's cool. And then we thought, okay, that was all right. Let's go back tomorrow morning. So we went back tomorrow morning and did it, and that's just like, oh no, I don't think I had glasses back then, so my vision wasn't as good. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna push myself to do this again. It was closed for a few years, and I thought, okay, I'll go back. I'll try it again. I got there, and then they made me take my glasses off and put them in a little locker before I got on. And I'm like, all right, on one hand, thank goodness, because then I can just I can unfocus my eyes and go, this is fine, this is all right, this is fine.
Why am I feeling all these G-forces whilst locked in a cupboard?
And then, and it was still really scary. I don't mind trying other ones, but I don't know. It should be brilliant because you're in the middle of the city, and how often do you get like all these city views from a roller coaster? And I have to talk to myself. I'm like, oh, this is fine, this is good. I'm good with this, but I don't mind high up places. I've been to. I suppose it depends how exposed you are and how much your brain is going to make you fall without you like telling it not to.
I think for me, probably the reason why I mean, I really like, actually, now I come to think of it, I really like the very tall roller coasters. And I think the reason I mean, we all know that illogical thing that people who are scared of flights is fine in planes. But I think the reason why roller coaster are okay for me is, well, I mean, when they're going up a tall bit, I am that person who's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have got on this. And, I feel genuinely like the vertigo thing kicks in. But I think like the adrenaline actually makes it. I like it. Like the same thing I said. This is why I go jump on the
Yeah.
glass floor at Skytree, because I actually like the fact that it's scary because I know it'll be over very quickly, and it's kind of like it's nice to sort of face that fear in a very direct way. But the reason why I like the one at Tokyo Dome, the one the Thunder Dolphin, is it?
Thunder Dolphin.
The reason I like that is that's my idea of a perfect roller coaster in that it goes up very high, it's very fast, and you see where you're going. So as things come whizzing by, you get the experience of speed and the experience of adrenaline. When you're spinning around, there's no real adrenaline. You just feel like confused and your body feels disoriented. But when you see things rushing past you, there's a sort of an adrenaline, there's a rush, it's exciting.
I can't remember if Thunder Dolphin has
I don't think it
a
even
loop.
inverts.
It
I think
does.
it's
It's got like
actually.
a corks. It's got sort of corkscrew. It sort of waves back and forth.
Yeah.
Um,
I think you're right. It does actually. It does do a loop, doesn't it?
I think it goes through a hole in the building, but I think it might have a loop. It goes up, then it goes down, then it comes back round, it goes sideways, and then it goes in a wave
Yeah.
through the building.
Wow, you know it really well.
So, sort of stick with
Traumatized
It's
you.
stuck with me. Yeah, it's stuck with me that one. This is the Trauma Channel this time. But yeah, and I think I've watched a couple of videos on it as well, but I don't think it's got a loop. There was a roller coaster in one of the hotels I stayed at.
Oh yeah, you
Yes,
told me about it.
back in 2007.
That is the madness.
I stayed at the Shinagawa Prince Hotel,
Yes.
and that used to have a roller coaster in the hotel, themed around the old Leiji Matsumoto anime, Galaxy Express 999. So it was like Shinagawa Express Station, it was called, or something, and it was indoors. But it also had, you have to go downstairs in the hotel, and pay a little bit of money and get on this roller coaster, and it's actually got a loop the loop and everything. It's like being on this space train going through the stars and things, but it's also got a loop the loop, and it's inside the hotel.
We did like the me and
Gone now, closed.
we we did the roller coaster inside Joypolis in Odaiba.
Oh right, yeah. So you got
That one's not. I don't think that's as big.
Joy Police.
Joy Police. They make sure you're not having too much fun.
Isn't that the one? Don't the carriages spin on that one?
Yeah, we did the one that
A little
spins. We also did like the VR roller coasters and everything in there. It's like an indoor theme park. It was nice. It was nice because I was with the little one and everything. We were having
That's
a good
cool.
laugh, and so we had a lot. Although the VR roller coasters, they were really well done, but they actually were quite vomit-inducing because we did two of them in a row, and after we got off the second one, we were like, I don't think we can do a third, because the thing is that on the VR screen, you see all this dramatic stuff happening, and the carriage kind of like moves with it, but it doesn't have quite enough range of motion. So on the screen, you'll have like some big jump, and the carriage kind of does like a bit of a jump, but your brain goes, yeah, the carriage should have moved more.
Yeah.
So the fact the carriage doesn't like move as violently as what you're seeing on the screen actually does make it a little bit disconcerting. So if anything, it's not violent enough, or they just need to calm down what's happening on the screen.
I wonder if you'll be able to get like pneumatic chairs for the home.
Well, you can for like racing games now. You get like
Yeah.
racing games with like the pneumatic chairs. That
Like ones
give you
where
the
you
G
get
force and
your
shit.
roller coaster VR and it just programs the movements into the chair.
I'll put it this way: VR has been used for a lot of other things, so that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Let's wonder where that's going.
Well, that'd be cool. Oh yeah, getting that the pneumatic chair or whatever, and it'll
I didn't even think about it. You can have a roller coaster
have as many
experience at
roller
home.
coasters as you like at home. That'd
Yeah,
be cool.
download
Um,
roller coasters. That's
I
awesome.
remember when, obviously we haven't been around much this year, but I do wonder if you still get as many VR game spaces in Tokyo as you used to, because a few years
There's
ago you used to
quite
get
a
a
few.
lot of them.
There's quite a few. I don't know how many there used to be, so it's kind of hard for me to quantify that. But there are still a lot of places doing VR game stuff.
I saw one.
But it is
at-
becoming more common at home, so that's always going to.
Well, I saw one at
Yeah.
Tokyo Tower
Okay.
recently, and it had a VR.
Oh yeah, that one's still there. Yeah, that one's still
Yeah,
there.
it's got the VR dynamite boat race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that.
That'd be cool. VR dynamite boat
Actually,
race.
in Incheon Airport, the Seoul Airport, they got like a huge VR space in there as well. And I've never been in it because it's a little bit expensive, and I'm usually passing through. I don't have like spare money to spend in the airport, but yeah, it's like they got a huge one there as well. So maybe one day we should do something crazy like that. And they got like in Joypolis, they got a couple of those VR helmet ones, things. But actually, the one thing I was going to add, just one more that I can think of, is I just actually Googled Fuji Q because I was remembering I had so much fun at Fuji
there
Q.
one day.
It is
I need
brilliant.
to save up the money because I want to go to either Fuji Q Highlands or I want to go to Osaka Universal Studios and go look at the anime stuff.
I mean, yeah, that would be a selling point for you. I think for me, Fuji Q is definitely like that's the one.
Oh, because it's
But
just focused on rides and stuff, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem. Is for me, it's like just that. But if you want like a mixture of things, probably actually a lot of people speak very highly of Osaka's Universal Studios. But as well as that ride that just goes up very quickly down the top, there's the really famous roller coaster at Fuji Q, which is the one that came up immediately in the picture. And it's the one where it gets to the top. And I remember actually I loved this, and this is nightmare fuel.
I wonder if it's the one that you can get a Tomika toy of the carriages. They're kind of dark black / blue and sort of triangle shaped.
So this is the tallest one they have, and it's so you can see the mountain. But just before it gets to the top, they decide to do that to you. It goes back on itself just before it gets to the top.
Cool. Let me see that.
And this one's like really, really famous. So it like makes you go backwards and then brings you up to the
I
top.
rode the Saw ride at
Yeah, that does it as
Thorpe
well.
Park, which does that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel as bad as it looks. It looks worse on the outside. Because the worst part usually in these like roller coasters is the dangling bit, you know.
Oh yeah, Oblivion.
It's like Oblivion. That's it. I think it was.
Saw ride goes backwards, and Oblivion's the one that dangles you and drops you.
Yeah, I seem to remember it was.
I remember that. I went. I had a good time when I was at.
So
was that one again? Is it
Oblivion, I think,
not
was the
Thorpe
one that
Park,
goes
is it?
into that pit.
Yeah, so it dangles you and then drops you into the pit. It was like it was the first of a free fall ride. I think was their whole selling point, wasn't it? But yeah, I remember that from back in the day. But which one was that? It's Alton Towers, isn't it? Alton Towers.
Alton Towers is the one up north.
Yeah, that was the up north one that had those rides.
Yeah, help them get up there. Apart from people who live up north. Well, it's weird how Alton Towers is like so close to Dartford. You have to like arrange.
Thorpe Park.
You have to Thorpe Park, yeah, Thorpe Park, and you've got to arrange it with friends to go. I suppose it's the same over here. I bet teenagers love going on like day trips to Fuji Q Highland.
But most of them go to Disneyland. Do you know?
Yeah.
And the main reason is is because almost every single girl, if you ask them, hey, what are you into? Most of them say Disney. So a guy, if he wants to take out a girl, he'll take her to Disneyland. Two girls want to go out, they'll go out to Disneyland. Unless it's a group of guys going on their own, they're going to Disneyland.
They're like sugary, high-pitched girls who don't put out.
No. No, it's pretty much like
you want to take the girls who want to go to Fuji Q Highland.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Ones you want.
If you find a girl and she's like, no, I don't want to do Disneyland. Let's go to Fuji Q Highland. Marry her like immediately.
Yeah.
Just marry her. It's like, yep, you are the one for me. So we'll get married on the way to Fuji Q Highland, and then we'll have our honeymoon at Fuji Q Highland. I'm sure they've got hotels there, amply sized ones. You can enjoy your honeymoon knowing that you picked the right woman. Marriage advice from east to the east. So yeah, that's that's one of the things though, is that like I think the obsession with Disneyland is partly because of the fact that they stuck it right on the doorstep of Tokyo, so it's like so accessible.
It's kawaii, innit?
Kawaii.
It's totally kawaii. But the cool people, they go to Fuji Q.
Yeah, cool people go to Fuji Q. Sponsor us.
I saw something the other day, and I just had to say to myself, I was like, that was totally fucking boss. It was just so cool. So I sort of I was looking at my phone, trying to find my map and everything. I was looking where I was, and I just saw this. I heard this sort of motorcycle sort of rumbling, and there was this girl who I think she must have just gotten off the motorbike or something, or she was just like waving to this person, and it was this like young woman on this freaking Harley. And it's a really cool sort of, I don't know if it's modern or classic or what. I don't know if it's like one of those modern ones that looks classic or what. But yeah, she was just and then just turns around and zips off. I was like, was like, that woman was totally fucking boss.
She's probably breaking hearts everywhere she goes.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll tell you what, that's probably what
shit.
this girl was like, you know,
Yeah.
because the other girl was kind of like one of those. Sometimes, like in Japan, life is like a manga, and you don't believe it. Like the way that some people act is like this girl was like her girlfriend or something, and she was like, you know, she was the pretty, like not, well, they were both pretty, but this one, but she was all like dressed in like, you know, the cardigan and this long skirt and everything, and the other girl's got like her black jeans and her leather jacket and everything, and I was just like, that is boss. That is so cool.
I do think
I wish I'd like caught a bit of that on camera because it was so cool.
I do think there is something about like because again I keep saying this, so much of what makes Japanese like culture so engagingly fun is the fact that it's full of niches, which itself is because people tend not. There's very few things you can be into where people go, "Oh, that's too far. You're too weird, too niche." It's just like, "Oh, you're into this. Oh, that's interesting." You know, people are open-minded about everyone having different interests, and as a result, you tend to get friends. This happens elsewhere as well, but in Japan, it's very common to have friends who are from very mixed groups. You know, you'll have like the biker girl hanging out with someone who's like totally the opposite, and you know, doesn't even have a driving license. Yeah, exactly, and that will happen.
Because this was Disneyland Girl and Fuji-Q Girl.
Yeah,
this was so cool.
but you can imagine them both going to each other's places. Like, you know, you can imagine biker girl turning up and putting on the little Minnie Mouse like ear things and walking around Disneyland.
There's a manga in this. If I write.
It's like Kamikaze Girls.
If I write a manga about this would be great. Yeah,
it's like Kamikaze Girls, but a bit.
The thing is, yeah, they say like, oh, in Japan, oh, you know, conformity is really, really important, and oh, the nail that sticks out gets hammered.
Only in the.
But there is such a large amount of people who will go against the grain. It's just because there's like 6 million people living in this city that it looks like loads of them conform, but if you look, there are so many people who don't, and they're living really interesting lives.
I would actually argue that I don't think it's separate people. I think it's just separate situations.
Yeah, I mean, on their day off, they'll take the suit off and they'll.
I think that the Japanese, as a general, and I've said this before, so you might have heard me say this before. I think they're so organised, and from a young age, you know, like we said, hobbies. Their hobbies. Their parents tell them find a hobby. You know, if you get into something, it's like, okay, you like playing music, we're going to get you piano lessons. You like doing tennis, you're going to have tennis lessons. They're told to treat their hobbies as seriously as their work. You know, sort of make the most of it. So as a result, I think most people are as efficient with their free time as with their work time. So you'll see, one of the things I like is you often see like there'll be a woman and she's like really sort of clean cut business, so everything looks good, you know, she's professional, she's on the phone talking, and you'll just see like the flicks of like purple dyed hair in there, and you're like, oh, this is a girl who probably like is just totally a rock chick, and you know, outside of this you probably wouldn't tell in a million years that she could like rock a suit like that.
But it's like they know that they need to work to make their money to fuel their hobby.
And they balance
it.
They put as much effort into, you know, making the most of their free time as they do. You know, you find like someone who's an otaku, they collect all crazy stuff. They've got all kinds of interesting stuff filling their house. It might look insane, but they've put a lot of effort into that. You find like, you know, the rock musicians who are into music. This is why so many musicians in Japan are so talented, is because they don't just go, oh, I'm just going to hang out and slam some guitar and shout a lot and complain about my parents. It's like, no, I'm going to learn to get really good at this and write interesting songs and feel like I'm creating something. I do think that, you know, obviously there's always exceptions to the rule, but I just feel this is the thing that makes it so different. And because maybe that's also what fuels the mutual respect of different interests between people. But I do think that you get that whole vibe that, you know, so when like the rock chick had, you know, very stereotypical, but to use that example, when you get the rock chick hanging out with the Disney chick, you know, the one who's very studious and just reads books and is very calm and introverted, you know, they probably actually respect each other because they know that each other put a lot of effort into it. In fact, I think the only people who you do occasionally get some people, and this is a minority, but I think we've all seen them in Japan, the ones who basically just, they're like the stoner kids. They sit around their house basically smoking weed. And those ones are probably the ones who you find that they're the ones who don't sort of pop up in many groups, because I think most people probably just don't respect them because it's like, well, you're not doing anything with your life. So I think so long as you're doing something with your life, then you tend to have a good circle of friends. And even if you're just unsure, if you're in a difficult place, as long as you look like you're passionate about something, like you've got goals in your life, you probably find you have a lot of friends. So yeah, I think that Japanese society is fueled a lot by that. You're searching for something. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
I just remembered I saw that there's this manga which won like the Shogakukan manga prize last year for like best new manga, and they always get turned into an anime. So I've been waiting to see, and usually that one, when it comes out, the manga volume starts selling out all over the place. And the first, I think, bit of merchandise for this series came out the other day, and
Saw it, didn't we?
it's the rubber mascots, and I just want to see like are
Like
they
keychain
are
mascots.
they on eBay? And it's Kaiju number 8. Usually the manga author only does short series, so this is up to volume like 9 or 10.
Oh,
So
crap.
and it's going to be an anime, just like we thought, from April I think next year. So I'll be looking forward to seeing how that turns out.
You're going to get ahead of that wave, aren't you?
I'm going to see maybe tomorrow to go to the machine and buy a few of the mascots, because I think it is the first
Well, because
like,
this is
merchandise based on this series.
this is a
And
big part of what James does.
I've
It's
read like 3 of the volumes of it because I've got them in stock at my shop.
a big part of what James does is like getting like the things that people are in high demand for people, checking on eBay, seeing what people are buying and getting them from here in Japan and like making them available on his shop and stuff. So you are kind of, it's interesting, even for things that you wouldn't yourself watch, you're kind of quite plugged into like the Japanese anime manga culture trends.
Yeah, it's because I watch like 3 minutes of every anime that comes out every year, so I do get a bit of an idea of what's going to be
Wisdom.
coming out and
Wisdom.
what comes out. But so at the moment, I've watched 2 anime this year, like completely. I watched Bocce the Rock, but that came out last year,
Yes!
and I watched Oshinoko. He's going to start saying yes to that in a couple of months when he's finished watching the anime.
Well, I am intrigued about that because
But the
like,
first episode's like an hour and a half long, so
that's good.
It came out in the cinemas.
I'll
and
even know if I like it or not then.
The thing is, if you want to watch it like the official release in English, not in English, subtitled, it's on this streaming service called High Dive, which is a big acquisition for them, but it's shit for the rest of us because we don't have High Dive in the UK. There's nowhere official to watch it, and it's probably so expensive, a license that like any UK licenser won't have it. It's unfortunate, so I've just watched it online.
Maybe
even though
if-
I do like supporting official releases,
Yeah.
like when there's a new Attack on Titan series, I'll pay for Funimation to watch it. If there's something I really want to watch and it's available on Crunchyroll or Funimation, I'll pay for the service for a couple of months to watch the series. Yeah.
There's nothing you can do if they're not going to make it like available.
No.
I mean, I do think that it's like it is interesting how that sort of goes, and I do think that often the copyright issue of getting things, includes music, getting them out to the wider world, especially when we live in this world. Certainly since like 2012. I mean, you had obviously like Gangnam Style, and then K-pop started to rise, but that whole thing also led very quietly to a growing acceptance in the mainstream of non-English language stuff. And of course, it came around as a lot more. The internet was, sort of Facebook really took off in 2008. But after that, a lot of these social media started to become part of everyone's life. So by 2012, it was a perfect chance for non-English language stuff to really get a hold. And I think in the last 10 years, what we've really noticed amongst a lot of the social media growth is that people are getting into this sort of foreign language stuff more and more.
How
So I
normal
think
anime and manga are now.
I think like a lot of these Japanese companies are not realizing that it's not so much of a barrier to get through to foreign audiences anymore. It's like you might not be getting mainstream, but there are a lot of people who will very gladly pick up your stuff. So put it with English subtitles, get those English subtitles, get an international copyright deal sorted out and make it available. But I get the feeling that a lot of the companies are not like prepping.
Some of them are quite precious about their product, though. They think they'd rather make nothing than make less than what they want.
That is an unfortunately old stereotype of the Japanese music industry that is actually not too far off. You look at companies like Sony and Victor, the sort of ones who really like blocking.
We want 2 million yen per quarter, and they're like, well, no, we don't think we can afford that. How about we offer you 1.5 million yen per quarter? And like, no, 2 million or nothing. Like, well, it's going to be nothing then because we can't afford it. And then they make nothing. They don't make 1.5 million. They make nothing. They don't make the 2. They don't make the 1.5. They make nothing. And then the fans don't get anything either because there's nothing that's being released.
I think that it is kind of interestingly true. I mean, I mentioned this on a smaller scale because I think this permeates on so many levels. I was talking about that group I managed in Japan like about 8 or 9 years ago, and there was that whole thing where they could have done really well. They had the whole setup, but the thing is they were busking and selling CDs on the street back when CDs were a thing. And it was kind of interesting because they were doing all of this, and I said the problem is that people, even if people hear you, the chance that they're going to open their wallet, buy a whole CD for 1,000 yen, and then even then, the chance they're going to take it home, listen to it properly, and follow up on it. There's so many steps. It's like you got to just give people stuff for free. Give them QR codes to your Spotify. Just give them something for free, which is easy to access. They can listen to whilst they're walking away from you, and it stays with them because people are open to these things, but that's because they're hit by so many things. But this band didn't want to do that. They were like, no, we don't want to do it. And they ended up just really not going anywhere because no one ever listened to their music because they didn't get it out there.
At least they got 100% of their nothing.
Exactly. And so this is the point. Like, I think there is that whole thing. I don't think this is just in Japan, but I think Japan probably leans a bit hard on that. But I think, you do need to sort of understand that sometimes it's almost like a dirty word to say that, bands need to get exposure and like anything in the media needs to get exposure. It needs to get through to people. But that's the truth. And it's not because you're cheapening the price of the product. It's just because every single one of these media markets is so oversaturated. When it comes to TV, anime, streaming services, music, with the amount of people who can record at home. Technology is just making it easier to create media. So as a result, there's so much media out there. How do you get through to people? You've got to give them the in by not, outpricing yourself. You just got to say, look, you've got to be like a drug dealer. First one's free. If they get hooked, they get hooked. Then you can start charging them. But you can't be walking into any of these situations with a price tag in front of them because the people have too much choice and they don't have enough. Even if everything was free, they still wouldn't have enough time to watch it all. So you've really got to ingratiate yourself to people.
Yeah. That's the thing. People can help themselves to hours and hours of free content.
You get a fan and they'll willingly give you money.
Exactly. You've really got to... Yeah, you really got to get their attention. Like, people have a choice, and they've got a choice. There's so much free stuff now.
Well, I mean, kind of everything. If you think about it, like anything really, if you want it, anything can be free. So you kind of like have to appeal to. I mean, as you said, you want to pay these people, but if they don't make it possible for you, then you'll still watch it anyway. And that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. People don't even need to pay you.
Yeah, usually the paid for stuff is higher quality, higher bit rate, performs better, whatever, all that. And obviously the people who create it get the money they deserve,
Which is what you want to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, even if it's free at the point of use and they bump it up with adverts, I don't mind that because that money goes back to the people who made the thing. I don't mind that.
It's all kind of vicariously channeled to the right people, but of course, if you have to get it yourself,
if nobody gets paid, there's no incentive to make anything.
Yeah,
if there's no money being generated, what are they making it for? So you need to find a way to compensate people who make a thing you like. But otherwise, it's not going to make anything else.
It's a mutual thing, isn't it? Because in the same way, the audience don't have to pay for anything, but once you've got them on board, then they'll be ingratiated to pay, and then you can. I mean, I was looking at like some of the podcasts that I really like. They put them out there and they say, well, look, here's the whole podcast and we're not monetized, we're not charging for anything. These are quite big podcasts. They're just like, look, you can sign up and get like full copies of the podcast if you want. We would just ask when you sign up, there's the option if you want to give a monthly amount. And those podcasts who are doing that are doing quite well because the funny thing is that you get a lot of people who don't have any money and they can't afford to pay for a podcast, to use this example. So they'll say, I'll go for free. And then after listening to your podcast for maybe a year, maybe they'll come across a bit more money and they'll go, look, I've been getting this person's podcast free for a year. So then it comes back to you later when they go, well, look, it's really nice. I mean, the video editor I use is a free of charge one. About 2 years ago, I switched to paying. It's not very much, but you get a few more features. Do I use them all? Sometimes, not all the time. But for me, it was like, this is something where even with like no real money, this is a thing that I've built so much of what I do on. And I was using it before I even paid a penny. So for me, I feel very loyal to it. And that's the thing. Loyalty is the way to get someone to think you're worth paying money for. But during the COVID lockdowns, when we couldn't do the live shows, and they were doing those like online shows, I found it quite interesting that a lot of bands who were doing that, they were charging like the same price as a normal live show. Like, you can't do that when someone's at home watching a video, even if it's live. I was like, and especially considering your overheads is massively reduced, you should now meet your fans.
And you don't
midway.
have a maximum capacity either.
Probably not actually.
No, of course.
Well, depending on the
you can
server
only
you go
fit
through.
500 people in a room, for instance, and you can fit. Yeah, okay, yeah, it depends on the server. That's true.
But still, it's going to be a lot more than most venues. And yeah, so for me, it was a case of like you should meet your fans halfway and say, look, we're going to do this for like a third of the price. You know, set to make no more money than you usually do.
Yeah.
And you because then you're playing to more people. You're not making any more money, but you're playing to more people. It will come back to you later. And I think the bands like Bandmade who did that, who had the super cheap tickets, it really was good at growing their brand. You see, they came out of COVID really strong. Whereas the bands who were like charging full price, I don't know, maybe there's some examples, but I don't think they came out as strong. I think a lot of them came out like with people going, all right, we're going to do us a fucking concert or what? So like people were feeling a little bit more like, okay, we helped you get through. It's like, and then of course there were a lot of bands like Silent Siren, I Love Me, who were putting just free stuff on the internet. Like, hey, we're all suffering. Here's some free music, or some free videos, or we're going to really try and push out content so you guys have got something to watch. And you know, it ingratiated them to people. You know, so yeah, this is the whole thing about ingratiating yourself to the audience. But do you think there's an oversaturation in anime now, or in Japanese media, or not really?
It does seem like there's a problem, but in that there's. I think you can't say it's too much of a good thing because when your menu is like all anime, and then you can just choose any of these anime to watch at any time, it does feel and look like there are too many. Like when there's 200 like titles every year, that's 50 a season. You got to remember, anime is just a medium. It's just it's not like one
Style.
thing. It's a medium. Like some will be exclusive to certain streaming services. Some will be exclusive to certain TV channels. You know, some of them will be promotional. Some will be web series. They're not all just like new shows on the anime channel. They're anime that are being produced for different places and different times and for different audiences. So it may look like there's too much, but anime isn't just this one thing. It's like saying there's too many TV programs on terrestrial television. It's like, you may think so, but it doesn't probably feel that way to each individual channel. Say, for instance, if Amazon Prime only have 4 or 5 series that year, you know, but if you took them away, you know, entirely, it's well, there's less anime this year. That's good, but
I think the thing is
not,
that
you know.
it still comes down to the fact that the audience has an X amount of time, and even looking for the right one
but
takes
it depends
time.
what their
Yeah.
available outlets are. If you can't
Yeah.
afford Amazon Prime, if you can't afford Netflix, if you can't afford HBO Max
But
or Wow TV or whatever it is in Japan, then you're limited to only the ones that the terrestrial televisions are putting out.
But I guess the point is that I think one of the big things about I'm talking about media as a general here, both anime and music, is that it's harder to find where the quality control is. And whereas quality control used to be a case of where you knew like certain channels or certain record labels would have the highest quality stuff or of a certain style, I think now it's become more a case of word of mouth is the new quality assurance.
I guess so. I mean,
So
marketing does go a really long way.
it does, but you notice that a lot of things with big marketing budgets of recent, they get a huge like premiere and then they just fall off because no one's interested.
I think people were kind of disappointed with Chainsaw Man. I don't know.
Really?
It
'Cause that
started
was a
off
big
really
deal,
big.
wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was marketed to the moon, and people knew about it coming for like a year and a half before it even premiered, and people were enjoying it, and people were liking it. But I don't think it had
It even
like,
had a cute
and
character.
didn't have the staying power. I don't think people are really all that excited for another series. I'm not sure how, say for instance, Oshinoko is doing. I think I saw a cardboard cutout for the main character in Atre in Akihabara. I think it
It's like
said
a shopping mall.
yeah, the shopping mall, and I think it says that season 2 of the anime's been announced, and we'll see how big it is. But the marketing was huge; you couldn't help but know it was coming out. But the series, the books, the manga has been so big, so that's like your pre-marketing, isn't it? I mean, you've got a dedicated audience, and they've done a good job with that series because they have made it really close to the manga. So they haven't really cut hardly anything out, apart from, you know, sometimes even though it's a manga and it's panels and it's not moving, it feels some of the scenes are like slower, and they've taken the time to really absorb stuff. Whereas in the anime, it kind of feels a bit more rushed, but it has to be because it's only like 11 22-minute episodes.
So is this kind of like an issue of world building and character building? It needs to be sort of more. You need to more stew in it.
It's not really that depth. It's more about emotional scenes where people are sort of thinking about what they have to say, or they're spending time sort of staring off into the distance, or feeling how they feel, and delivering the things that they say. Even though it's written and you absorb it at the read speed that you read, but you kind of can get the conveyance of
you still get the
going.
emotion of the scene, don't you?
So they have less time, I suppose, in the anime. That's the problem, because what if they only get commissioned for like 3 seasons and the manga goes on for like 20 volumes, and what do you do? So that's the other problem with anime is you might not get an ending. You'd have to go to the manga for that, which is frustrating because the manga comes out at a much quicker pace than the anime because they need something to work off of. Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of imagine that sort of being an issue. I mean, like I say, the thing that I noticed was that because I didn't know that would be the case with Chainsaw Man, but I mean, I have no reason to believe otherwise. And so it's kind of intriguing hearing you say that because, of course, Chainsaw Man was like very big in the through Akihabara, which I live very close to, and you see like the adverts, whatever the ongoing animes are. Even though I'm not like watching any of them, you can kind of tell what is big right now. And I was kind of surprised realizing how small and niche Bocce the Rock was, partly from seeing the way it was only advertised in very small places, and a lot of the adverts were more in music shops than in anime shops.
That was very much word of mouth. People just talking about it. That's what got it going.
I heard from like my community on Back of Broadcast that it was just like it was one of those things where just came out of nowhere. No one knew it was going to be a big thing, and then bam, it was there.
And for me, it was the presenters on Trash Taste. They were talking about it as well, and there's not really actually that many anime that they've been talking about. So when it started getting more and more rumblings and stuff, and then the memes and stuff coming along, and it being so popular that you'd see it outside of your bubble, your community. You start seeing these memes of certain characters and certain things. You think, isn't this that thing that people have been talking about? So that's pretty cool. That's when you know something has a staying power, is when it's got that cultural impact.
I did like some of the Bocce the Rock memes, like Bocce the Rock.
Yeah, see. Yep.
And then we were just going through like Bocce the Clock, Bocce the Sock, and I was like, yeah, someone already did Bocce the Sock.
See.
And where's it? This picture, Bocce the Sock, beautiful. Sorry. So one of those ones where, like you say, it's just been memed to death, memed everywhere. But I think, I think it is true sometimes. Like good, I think we are in that generation where good word of mouth is the thing. We're talking about how like when Baby Metal exploded during that period of time when you could really just have like a music video or something that would go viral, and that would be the way to do it. And so like stuff like Give Me Chocolate, that was like something where people went, oh my, what's this J-pop thing? Most people at the time in the West not really understand what J-pop is. It's like, oh, it's that cute Asian pop, but with metal, and it was like everyone was just turned their head. I remember the first time I heard Baby Metal was at a party when someone just put it on. I'd kind of heard of it and someone played it. I was like, wow, this is really weird, and it's stuck in my head. But then you look at a lot of the bands that are getting popular now, and it's sometimes you can do that, but the viral video isn't really the way anymore. Now it's more building up a fan base. I mean, you look at Bandmate, obviously, they've really just sort of snowballed. They had like one song that kind of got them on the map, but most of what's taken them, through the last few hundreds of percents worth of growth they've had has been a slow snowballing of just people picking up on them through live shows, through word of mouth. And I think we are living in a generation, for all the negative things there might be in the world right now, there's a lot of positive things that people often overlook. And I think one of the best things is that word of mouth is taking control. Yeah, there is a lot of shit out there still, but the good stuff, people are looking to their friends or to people they trust, online commentators who they know they like, rather than individual media outlets and things and TV channels and record labels to tell them what is good. They go to the friends they trust, to the like online voices they trust. That's where people go for new music, and I think that's actually really positive because people are getting good suggestions from a wide array of things. So I guess, yeah, and if you look at it that way, that's the real positive aspect.
Yeah. So if it comes to music, I get a lot of my. I pretty much exclusively get my exposure to Japanese music from anime themes anyway. But then again,
That's so cool.
But then again, I put the time into doing it
Yeah.
because I like the sort of little music video they make out of each intro. You know, they choose a song, and then they put their best animation into the intro. You know, and they time it and they animate it nicely and everything, and you get to hear.
By the way,
music,
it's that special moment in the video where I go to pee and James keeps on making his point, and I listen to him from the toilet. I've been drinking a lot of coffee.
So, yeah, I do put the effort in to watch. I do put the effort in to watch every anime intro every year because I don't want to miss out on any of these songs, for instance, or any anime. Even though I don't have the time to watch any anime, I do have this little list of ones that I want to get round to. And I found that the best way to absorb every anime is just to watch 3 minutes each of them, which is watching just the intros. So I'll go onto Wikipedia and I'll get a list of every anime that came out and I'll make a YouTube playlist. That usually takes about 7 hours or so. And then I'll watch all of these intros. I've done it in one sitting once or twice, and that takes about 7 hours, which is all waking day. I usually do it on New Year's Day, but last year I'd spent 4 days doing about 3 hours each.
That's pretty impressive as a marathon, though.
Yeah, but New Year's Day, you know, everything's closed. What are you going to do?
Listen to anime theme tunes. Well,
That's
actually,
right.
this is the thing, though, because
And I rank them as well, yeah.
we had a survey on the channel maybe a couple of years ago.
Sit there watching anime, listening to music and ranking.
we had a survey. I think it was maybe 2 years ago now on the Back of Broadcast channel where we were asking how did you find Japanese music, and I was expecting everyone to say through anime, and a large proportion, less than I expected, but still a large proportion of people found Japanese music through anime. And you know, if you look at Japanese artists, like Japanese music artists, so many of them, you know, because there's so much anime to do so, are releasing, oh, here's our new single, by the way, this is the theme tune for XYZ anime coming out. And it's amazing, like, you know, I know songs that I just know really well, and someone go, oh yeah, I recognise that as the theme tune to this anime. I go, I had no idea. So it's really cool how that happens, but it's interesting for me because obviously I solely find the bands through the music sphere and then occasionally hear an anime theme tune, but you only hear them from the other side. So sometimes you go, oh, I heard this, and like you mentioned about the Kyari Pami Pami song, which was the theme tune for
Ninja La. It was maybe Baby.
That's it. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh yeah, I know that because that was on like it was on Candy Race or everything. I'm thinking it in the context of the album, and it's interesting how it shapes what you think of the song because again the Yoasobi song that we were talking about, you've heard the short version, which is the one that you're more in touch with.
Yeah, short version. Yeah,
short
I really like
and punchy.
that. Yeah, doesn't feel stretched out.
Doesn't outstay its welcome too much.
No.
No. Whereas I'm kind of like think about it as the full length version. So it's interesting how that kind of like, and of course you're seeing it as like a whole media thing with visual representation. Like you said, they put like a really good animation into the intro often to make it kind of punchy. Yeah, I do think it's like impossible to miss just how much anime and music really tie in with each other. Even if you're only on one side of the sphere, you can't help but get a taste of the other.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I wonder with yourself I guess that's just a place where it's like, I mean, like you say, you're getting exposed to enough music. It's fine. You're getting new music all the time to listen to. So
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I do enjoy that. It's exciting because you don't know what you're going to hear, and you don't know what you're going to
True.
see,
Could be
and you
anything.
don't have to commit yourself to watching a full 22 minutes 12 times over to get the whole like experience. Obviously it helps if you really see something that you're interested in, then yeah, because you just don't know what's out there otherwise.
yeah, again, I it's like the sort of thing where, you know, when there's like movies, it's nice to sort of like just trawl through the trailers and see what's coming up.
Yeah.
Even if you know you're probably only going to watch like one movie this year. If there's one movie you watch this year, and so you know, so even then it's like nice to just see. Oh, I wonder what's coming out. Oh, nothing good. Sometimes it's good to get a flavour, but yeah, the music and the animation scene are tied in, but Japan as a general, I don't know if it's just the cultural sense, but Japan's it's weird. It's like it's so got such a huge media culture, and yet it's so stands on its own. You know, it's quirky and it's different from storytelling to music. It's very different from the rest of the world. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, they definitely put a lot more action and some thought and style, and there's also just the way that Japanese culture works and the way that people communicate and just these things that we don't actually put any thought into, that we don't actually realize goes into how anime works. For instance, it's just the way people talk or the gestures they use or the process in which they do certain things. It's things we don't consider. I had this book which was quite useful actually. It was called oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the subtitle was "What's Japanese in Japanese Animation." It wasn't the Anime Encyclopedia. I think it was like the Anime Handbook or something. But yeah, it was "What's Japanese in Japanese Animation." I can't
That sounds
remember
cool.
who wrote it. I don't think it was Paul. I don't think it was Paul Gravett.
I'll quickly Google it while you explain it.
But yeah, it's a little list of like things that you see, like little statues or for instance, furniture, or maybe some puns or some sayings that Japanese use, and it really helped my understanding of anime and manga. But it's quite an old book. They came out with 2 volumes, and I've got them both, and they've both been really good. The Anime
The anime
Companion.
companion, yeah.
I'm surprised that he got away with using Rei Ayanami on the front cover.
I'll
Who's
pop
it
that.
by? Who's it by? No, I was thinking Brian Vaughan, but that's a comic book author. It's not Paul Gravett.
I'll just quickly show that to them.
Um,
So that's that. There's a second part to it as well.
Yeah.
But,
the Anime Companion, yeah.
and that's the girl from Evangelion, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Giles
yeah.
Giles Portress. That's it. That's the guy. I remember. I think he liked something I said on Facebook once, and I was like, yeah.
I love when you get those weird interactions with famous people online, and you're like, oh.
Sort of. I mean, for instance, yeah. I think because I used to volunteer at I used to volunteer at film festival and stuff like that, and I got to know people in the industry, and so on their Facebook they've got people who talk to them, and it just goes around a little bit of a loop, So that's how you get to sort of make loose connections. It's like the other guy I thought who might have wrote it, but I'm sure he didn't. Paul Gravett. He's like a proper like comic book historian. He's written some really good articles and books about. I think there was this one book. I think he wrote it was reading comics, watching anime or something. But he's written a lot of stuff. But I talked to him a little bit at the London Comic Market, and it's just cool because I recognised him from a distance. Like Paul Gravett over there talking to like the guy whose table I work with, and then we just had this conversation. It was really cool. So yeah, it's nice, especially these are not famous people, aren't they? But they're just respected in their field.
Yeah, it's a form of localized fame,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice,
Yeah.
because there are some people who might, depends on what you do, probably people who feel the same way about you, having your channel and
That's always a weird feeling is when someone's
they have like some sort of reverence
I went to that
for you.
when I went to the Line Cube Bandmade show. I think I told this story before, but probably a few times. But there was like this weird moment where it was all seated at the Line Cube, even for a Bandmade show, and I kind of went in quite late because I wanted to give I just wanted to sort of take in the venue. It's like it was seat numbers were anyway, so I was like, why rush? I was one of the last people to go in, and as I go in, like it turns out, okay, my seat is right in the middle of a block. So I go around, go to the row, and I noticed a couple of people had like looked at me, and I was like, okay. And I went to move along my row, and as I move along the row, sort of shuffling along past people, and you could just see your seat in the distance of the row. And as I'm shuffling along, the person who's sitting one across from me like eyeballs me and he looks at me and he's watching me all the way as I get closer to him. I'm like, I shuffle along and as I sit down, he just goes, I know you, YouTube. I'm like, now for the rest of the show, I have to be very careful about all my actions because anything I do could end up in an internet forum in Japanese in a way that I don't understand, which is going to incriminate me for the rest of my life. So it's like every action I have for the rest of the show has to be carefully detailed. But yeah, that was cool. He was a nice guy, but yeah, he knew me from YouTube. It was like really quite funny. And I remember that was like the first time really from doing the YouTube thing that I was like, oh shit, okay, so yeah, people know me.
It's even weirder when people recognise you and you've never met them.
Yeah, that's when
like,
it's weird.
Everyone who recognises me has met me because they're like customers or whatever, or they visited my shop or whatever.
But it's got to be times when it's like a customer who recognises you and you're like, I don't remember you.
Oh yeah, that happens so much. It's only happened to me, like what happened to you, once. I think I was in either like Croydon or Bromley, which is somewhere so far away from where I live. But I think the previous year, I did. There's this television show on Sky. Well, it used to be on Sky One, Gamesville. It's like a video game review / challenge video game program, a bit like Games Master, which used to be on Channel 4, but this was on Sky One. And yeah, someone was like, "Oh, you were on Gamesville." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I was." The bloke off the telly. So that was weird. That's the only time I think I've ever been recognised by someone who's never met me.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, strange. But the thing is, the more you do this sort of thing, the more likely it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I mean, I've like the most recent bandmate show I went to, although like no one was like sort of necessarily doing it in that way. There was plenty of people. Like I was there to meet like one fan who was making actually made this really cool bandmade merch, and he's like produced these completely at home. I think a lot of you guys have probably seen these bouncing around the internet, but he gave me these, and I went to meet him outside the show, and then ended up actually getting invited into the show, which was awesome. And the thing is, afterwards we all went for like a little chat at an izakaya, and just when I sat down, it was like everyone there was like, oh yeah, I recognise you off the internet, and of course then it was more of a welcome situation, but it was still interesting like how many people were just like, oh yeah, I know you, I know your channel. And I was like, yeah, I don't know any of these people are. They like kind of all seen me before. In that sense, it was a little bit more connected because obviously I knew that they were in communities with other people I knew, and there were probably like 2 degrees of separation kind of deal going on there.
Yeah.
But still, it still is interesting when like your output precedes you. So I always wonder, and that's like I've only got like the old channel had like 1,000, nearly 1,700 subs. This one's got nearly 1,500 subs. And Ears to the East that you're on now at the time of recording's got less than 300 subs, and yet I'm still getting that from people, and it makes me think it's kind of interesting how if you're doing something in a certain niche, then the people who like that niche will be there. But that really comes back to our point, isn't it? Japan is a country of niches, but a country where niches don't just die, they flourish in their own little corner.
Yeah, they can do. Yes.
They can do, yeah, true.
And keeping the attention of anyone to the point where they will continue to stick with you is so it's something to acknowledge. It's something to cherish, because people's attention can be so divided these days. There's so many options. So the fact that they've chosen to spend time with you and the things that you do is it's good. It's a good feeling.
One of the things I quite like is if you go on a YouTube channel. If you're like a YouTube creator and you go on your YouTube channel and you look at your audience retention for that day, well, just hours viewed for that day, and if on average you're averaging more than 24 hours viewership per day, it's like that sudden realization, which is pretty much any second of any day on average, there's one person looking at my face, and it suddenly makes you go, oh wow, oh shit. It's like I'm just sort of like just randomly walk into the shops and it's like, could be someone watching me right now online. And it's so simple because you think on YouTube that's what you expect, but the sudden realization that's what's happening is kind of weird.
Yes.
And you put out a video that's like, it goes, oh, we've got like sort of 200 hours like viewership today. Like, oh my God, that means pretty much every second of the day there was like 8 or 9 people looking at me. It's like, it's very weird. It is, but it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Because I'm an attention-seeking whore. All right. Well, anyway, we started this quite late, and it's running quite late now. I get the feeling because we got an early start tomorrow. It's past 2 a.m., so I think it might be time to let James have a bit of a kip. He's staying at my place today.
Yep.
And yeah, we're. I think we had a nice little chat. I hope you guys enjoyed it. James will obviously be still present. Let us know. Back a binge is kind of like something where you add things on it occasionally, but you are around on the internet.
Yeah,
Check out
I would
Newsstand
like
Comics.
to get back into it. I've been in this like, oh, I don't know, it's purgatory of moving house for like 8 months.
It's
So
been a disaster and not
that's
from your
been
making.
kind of taking my attention. And the thing is, we've been, what was it, 8 months? So since I've had like 2 trips to Japan. Within that, I mean, I came in December and I came back for 4 weeks in April to May, and now I'm here again. So it's, yeah, the fact I've finally moved, it means I can get all my stuff out and I can set up some filming space. But then, I still need to make time to edit, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. I'd love to get more content. I've got so much filmed. It's
Yep.
just getting it organised and edited and out. So
People never
the
see that.
big
That's the
problem.
big part.
That's why
Yeah.
lockdown was really good for me, because I was able to edit so much. I was able to edit a bunch of stuff. I also filmed a lot of stuff. But I was also still working a lot during lockdown. So I thought, oh, this would be great for the channel because I can just do so much. But no, not so much. Not so much as I thought.
But I mean, anyway, it was really fun having you for this. And of course, if you want to see more of me and James talking, we were on the live chat, the Backer Broadcast live chat as well. So yeah, thank you all for checking it out. Thank you for being with us. If you want to check out more of the stuff that James sells, which is a lot, go look up Newsstand Comics. If you're in the UK, especially if you're in the south of the UK, then go check out his shop. I mean, Newsstand Comics, Dartford, you'll be able to find it. Yeah, this is like the most chilled out video we've done for a while. But we'll be catching up with you. James is going through his phone now, looking for some pictures of.
Yeah, I was trying to find like when I was filming a little bit. So I moved a bunch of stuff. I was filming a bit during lockdown, and I was just grown ridiculous amounts of facial hair. I'm just trying to see if I could find.
You got the long,
pictures of
you got the long hair now, the head hair. That's hair.
Yeah, yeah. I promised I'd get rid of it, so that's
Missus
going.
will kill him if he doesn't.
I need to cut my hair.
But you found it, or should we wrap it up?
No, I don't think it's actually on this. I moved a lot of stuff off of it to make room for the footage this time. So yeah.
All right, so thank you very much from us. Remember all the YouTubery stuff, and until next time, remember to this is a bit where we do the hand action. Remember
What?
to keep your ears to the east. Which way is east?
Never eat shredded wheat. So eat that way, I think.
Yeah.
Is to the east. Is. That's to. That's the east. That way.
See ya.